8:46 in the morning. I hear this incredible roar. This is American Flight 11. This huge plane had now come crashing into our tower.
On the World Trade Center, transmit a second alarm and start relocating companies into the area.
The plane struck a few floors above us. Part of the wing of the plane and debris from the plane tears in through our floor. The building began to shake, and it shook violently. Desks and cupboards and stuff all around us began to fall apart. A picture now of twisted steel and cable, jet fuel now making its way down onto our floor, fire breaking out all around us. The 28 of us in the office, all we could do was we hit the ground with our faces flat on that carpet.
Whoever it was hit the north side of the building, fire vented from at least one floor, heavy smoke showing over the front and on the top of the building.
My thoughts on my wife. My wife, Mary, who's now pregnant, 4 months pregnant with our son, and she works on the 71st floor of the South Tower of the World Trade Center. After a few minutes, someone from our floor gets up with these words, "Let's make our way toward the stairwell." So we began to fight our way through the fire, looking for the nearest stairwell. The jet fuel had come down the elevator shaft, and balls of fire were now shooting out that place. We fought our way through the fire, make our way onto that stairwell. Hundreds, thousands of people joining us onto that stairwell. One thing in common, the fear of death written on every face. No one had an idea what was going on in those buildings. My friends were trying to calm me down. I was really anxious about my wife. I'm trying to reach her through my phone. I'm borrowing the cell phones of all the people running down that stairwell with me, but cell phones would not work. It's 9:02 in the morning, and we're still running down that stairwell, only to be interrupted by another huge explosion.
You have a second plane into the other tower of the Trade Center. Move your fire.
This is United Flight 175. I get to the 43rd or the 44th floor when I see a sight which I will never ever forget. Hundreds of firemen, policemen racing their way up that tower. As we pass all those men, I wondered, why are they making their way up? We had seen fire on almost every floor. So we passed America's bravest and finest with these words, "You guys are the real heroes. God be with you." As we continued our descent down, and these men were still making their way up. It took me more than an hour and 20 minutes or so, to come down 81 floors of the North Tower. I get to this level which is called the Plaza, but now this place of life had been turned in this place of death. Hundreds of bodies of people lying now in the Plaza. I get to this lowest level. Hundreds of firemen, policemen, security people trying to get people out of the World Trade Center. And I'm wondering, what if my wife's been delayed to work? If that's her story, then she could be near her building looking for me. So I'm now walking to the South Tower thinking I might find my wife. And in a way, that's when my story really begins. I'm 15 or 20 feet away from the South Tower when I now feel that the ground that I'm standing on is shaking. It felt like it was an earthquake. I hear this incredible roar, and for a moment I thought it was a bomb that had imploded in front of me. But I soon realized that this was not a bomb. The very building I had approached, the South Tower, was finally imploding and going down. And for the first time in my life, I'm now confronted with the reality of my mortality. And I'm saying, God, you gave me this opportunity to come down 81 floors, but death has finally got a hold of me. I look around and there's 15, 20 people around me. A voice speaking to my heart. These people that are with you, Sujo, where are they going without me? This is New York City, a great melting pot of people that come from all around the world. They come here having embraced all kinds of religions and philosophies of life. And this boldness comes upon me to speak up for Jesus. I start crying out, Jesus. And I ask those 15, 20 people to call upon the name of the Lord. An incredible thing happens. Not one tried to argue with me, not one tried to debate with me. But I could hear the cries of these 15 or 20 people start calling upon the name of the Lord with me. We prayed for a few minutes. Here's the deafening noise of the building going down.
I hope I live. I hope I live. It's coming down on me. Here it comes.
We moved from that huddle, 15, 20 feet away from that group. I'm lying there with my face flat on the ground. And as I'm lying there, I'm saying, God, something big is going to hit me soon and I'm going to die. After about 15, 20 minutes, I realized that I'm still alive, which surprised me. I'm plastered with soot and ash and glass that's covered my body. I could barely breathe. I'm choking on the soot and the smoke and the ash that was all around us.
I've never seen nothing like it in my life.
I decided to feel my way back to that place where I'd prayed with those people, to only to realize that these 15 or 20 people that had prayed with me, they did not make it out alive. Their bodies were smashed and crushed. I said, God, they just called upon your name, and how come they not make it? But I felt this peace from heaven. They made their peace with me in their dying moments, and they're resting with me in my presence. The Bible gives us the assurance that to be absent in the body is to be present with Jesus. I look around and there's someone alive around me. Reached out to him, he reached out to me. We started pulling each other. This turned out to be an FBI agent. I asked him this question, do you know Jesus? He said he did. And we now start praying this prayer. God, if it's your will, show us the way out of this place. We both knew time was really short. Both of us choking on the soot and the smoke. But as we continued praying, something so miraculous happens. I see a red light flashing through the soot and the smoke. So we now start following that light. That light eventually leads us onto the street level. And now this FBI agent, he let go of my hand with these words, you run ahead. I gotta go back and get more people.
You guys going in? Come with you.
This man starts running into the North Tower. I continued my way out of ground zero. The ground begins to shake again. When I turn back, this is the North Tower collapsing. This brave man died that day. God, why did you spare my life? The towers don't exist anymore. Dust, smoke, ash, balls of fire rising out of ground zero. As I'm sitting right in the middle of one of the streets of New York City, just dazed, confused, bitter, angry at God, angry at the circumstances I find myself and my family in. My cell phone rings for the very first time. I had spent a long time thinking my wife was dead. But now when I flip that phone, it's my wife's caller ID. And now I'm thinking, it could be someone else calling me with the news that your wife is dead. With a lot of fear, I picked up that call. But when I said hello, I could now hear my wife on the other side. Her life was spared. We finally meet each other. It would be just the most amazing moment. I had given up hope about her. She had given up hope about me. As we find each other in each other's arms, she tells me her story. She gets in late to work, gets off her train. She's near her building. She sees a second plane crashing into her tower. Hundreds of people jumping out of the building. My building up in flames. And she thought I could be one of those people jumping out of the building. But a girl comes out of nowhere, grabs my wife, takes her to a place of safety. God had miraculously spared our lives. I realized that night that America and our world had changed forever. Our sense of security that we had in this land had now been changed. I said, God, 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists, full of hatred for this nation, they came, died, and murdered 3,000 people today. They died for a cause that they believed in. But how come there are men and women so willing to blow themselves up for causes like these that come from the pits of hell? And in the light of that kind of devotion, how guilty am I of keeping the greatest cause known to mankind, the cause of Jesus Christ, the cause that can bring hope where there's no hope, the cause that can bring healing in a very broken and hurting world. How guilty am I of keeping this very cause to myself and watching a world die around me without Jesus? I quickly realized that this nation of America, founded on nothing less and nothing more but the gospel of Jesus Christ, was now in a great need of a move of God. I wondered, how would this country heal? Would this country come back together again? As days unfolded, it was incredible to watch what was going on in America. This country did come together. Churches were full of people. Weeknights, weekends, as church doors would open up to congregations, not only would church people find their way in, but unchurched neighbors, co-workers would make their way into the church. People were looking for answers. My prayer on this anniversary is that America's pulpits would be ablaze all over again with the fire of the Holy Spirit. That we would once again preach the simple gospel of Jesus Christ to America. That men and women, boys and girls would call upon the name of the Lord, and that it would be said of America again, this country truly is a beacon of hope for the world. We have an opportunity to turn back to God. This weekend, let us pledge our allegiance to God. Let us pledge that this country will return back to its godly foundation. Let us pledge that we will raise our sons and daughters in the fear of the Lord. Let us pledge that not only we would proclaim the gospel in America, but we will make the gospel seen in this nation that is in deep need of a move of God. America, let's return to Jesus.